Alrighty, folks. This is going to be a breakdown of my trade that netted me $2,024 on my 50K Express account on TopStep. So for those of you guys who don't really know what an Express account is an account that allows you to basically get paid on a funded firm. I'm not going to explain in depth what a funded firm is, but essentially it's a company that allows you to make money if you basically apply to trade with them. Majority of people in the trading space know what a funded firm is, so that's why I don't want to obviously break it down in depth. But anyways, in terms of how much I made, $2,024, I risked roughly $400 to make that. I was trading too many contracts. In terms of my executions, this is my execution. Now coming into what I saw overall on the higher time frame, lower time frame, why I entered this trade, and basically what I thought about everything. Coming into the 1 hour, this drawn liquidity mapped out here stood out to me a lot. I believe price is still in this bullish signature, and the reason for that being is because if we refer to the sell side imbalance here on the 4 hour time frame, we have completely inverted it. So I was looking at this drawn liquidity to get met. And for going into tomorrow is pre-NFP, and those are days in which I don't personally trade. So I was expecting, and the reason why I don't trade them is because they're lower probable days. So I was expecting the overnight session to move and have a lot of volatility, for then the AM session to be low probability and choppy. So let's look at, obviously, let's see what happens tomorrow, but that's what I'm anticipating for tomorrow's price action. Now, coming into this trade, drawn liquidity was mapped out. I then also mapped out this lower time frame drawn liquidity on the 15-minute time frame. Now, the reason how I knew we were bullish is because of the fact, if we look at today's price action, we are manipulating these highs multiple times, right? This high got manipulated here, then price ran up, manipulated once more, price runs up back again, manipulates again, price runs up back again, manipulates again. So typically when we manipulate highs in a multi-basis and just multiple times, I typically think price action as a whole is going to continue to gravitate towards those highs. Because if we were truly bearish, the protocol that typically follows is something like this, where a price action will set in a high, will then accumulate for a little, come up to that high, immediately reject, and then start to build bearish structure. That is typically the protocol in which I want to see for bearish and true bearish price action. So that built into my hypothesis overall, my trade idea of just saying, hey, we're just kind of accumulating right now. We're manipulating highs, coming back down, manipulating highs again, coming back down, manipulating highs. Typically when this happens, right, there will be a pullback to generate liquidity and then bullish structure to then continue price action higher. This is typically the protocol that I follow. This is what works for me. It might not work for you, but this is typically what I see. Now on the chart here, right, 6 p.m. EST is the overnight session open. So I notice, hey, we opened up sideways. We're leaving in these lows here. Price is continuously accumulating, and then London opens. London then distributes lower to generate liquidity at these lows. Once we have generated liquidity, we start to see displacement. Now, the reason for my entry, if we drop down on a lower time frame, we manipulated internally once more this low here. Then from there, we start seeing displacement above these highs, right? Let me jump on a 2 minute so it looks a little bit cleaner. Once we jump on a 2 minute, we displace above these highs, running back up into the sell side imbalance. I then waited for some form of confirmation internally. We had this fake leg lower. Typically London, because it's just lower probable as a whole, will just pull back like this for random reasons. Then price starts to displace back up. I took my entries accordingly, stops below these lows here, anticipating price action to at least meet this drawn liquidity here, which ended up happening, and we actually got 50 points of displacement past where my take profit was. I did miss out on $2,000, but that's trading for you. You're not always going to be right, and I'm okay with that. And that's one thing that you guys, and I would recommend for you guys to get over as soon as possible, right? If you constantly are hyper associated and hyper focused specifically on being perfect and a perfectionist, there's pros and cons within that, right? I would say try to be a perfectionist when you lose, and when you win, be okay with what you got. Right? This is the ultimate blueprint, I would tell you guys. And the reason for that being is because when you try to be a perfectionist, when you win, there's always a woulda, coulda, shoulda. Oh, I could have held my trade for 15 minutes longer, and then I would have hit TP, and then I would have made $2,000 more, and then I would have been able to buy this and do that, versus, right, a perfectionist when you lost. Well, sitting there and asking yourself, well, what went wrong here? Why did I lose? And then you learn from that. So a lot of you guys are flip-flopped around. You guys are trying to be perfectionists within, I guess you can say, you're winners, and that makes you get FOMO and greed and all those emotions, and not perfectionist in your losses. And that is where the true power comes from, right? So that's basically the trade. I still think overall higher time frame is kind of bullish. Now, if the higher time frame candles, like the 1 hour, closes below this low, that will then signify to me more than likely we're going to probably see a rebalance back into this inefficiency to then maybe continue higher, or we just rebalance and then fail to get back up in price action basically, and then just start displacing lower. We've generated enough liquidity where we don't need to see this high, but I would love to see it, especially on the higher time frame like the daily. We are kind of just still displaced in this entire range. It kind of makes me want to see all-time highs on the higher time frame. But that being said, that's pretty much the trade breakdown. I'm going to be trading this Express account very aggressively. I'm going to be aiming for 2 to 5K days on the individual account, hopefully, and maybe try to get moved to a live account on this individual Express account. We'll see what it does and how I do it, but I'm going to just be updating you guys because I know I got constant feedback from people saying, Salman, your trade breakdowns help me out so much. So I kind of felt like a little bit of a bum if I don't do it, and I don't start to get more into trade breakdowns. So if this trade breakdown actually made sense to you, it helped you out in some way, shape, or form, let me know in the comment section if you guys want me to continue to do these, if these help you out, if this helps you understand the price action as a whole more. But yeah, that being said, folks, that's the trade breakdown. I love all of you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it brought some ideas to you in terms of being able to help you out with price action. And yeah, just let me know in the comment section if you guys would like me to continuously post these, or if you guys want me to just continuously focus on psychology. That being said, love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.